Welcome everyone to the Phoenix Police Department's 2018 Annual Award Ceremony. And now, welcome to the stage your MCs for tonight's ceremony, Executive Assistant Chief Mike Kurtenbach and special guest MC from 3TV's Arizona's Family, Lena DeFlorius.
I feel like you can give us a little more. Welcome. I'm Lena DeFlorius. I just wanted to say yes, I've never felt so safe here. So many of your brothers and sisters have thanked me for being here, and I would like to say I'm not having any of it. It is truly my honor to be here with you tonight, to recognize you and let you know that there are people who support you. We appreciate what you do, and certainly we're going to celebrate that tonight. So we are honoring these awards, and now you're going to say thank you to me again.
I am. Lena, it's such a treat to have you here with us this evening. Thank you so very much. And folks, before we begin the formal part of the program, let's recognize our honored guests. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased tonight to be joined by the Chairman of the Public Safety and Veterans Subcommittee, City Council Member Michael Nowakowski, and Phoenix City Manager Ed Zerker. We'd also like to recognize the Phoenix Police Foundation and those sponsors whose generous contributions have made this evening possible. To those members of the community, and to you, our family and our friends who support us night after night as we work to come home safely after every shift, thank you and we love you.
Looks like we are ready to begin the evening, and we are pleased to welcome our first speaker for the evening. Please welcome City Manager Ed Zerker.
All right, thank you very much. It is an honor to be with you here tonight. And on behalf of our Mayor, Greg Stanton, our Public Safety and Veterans Subcommittee Chair, Michael Nowakowski, and all of our City Council members, I want to say congratulations to all the awardees and your families and friends. Valor, merit, courage, risk, success, excellence, life-saving, leadership. Those are some of the words that jumped out to me as I read through the awards being given tonight, the description of those awards. The 148 awardees and 41 incidents that are being recognized tonight. You show us all that it's not putting on the uniform or wearing the badge that's important. What's important is what you do and how you respond when you're wearing the uniform or the city badge. I want to thank you for being the best representatives of what it means to be a City of Phoenix employee. What you represent to our residents makes all of us who work for the city proud to be associated. And to all the families tonight, I say a special thank you for the sacrifices you make. Congratulations again to all. Thank you.
Our next speaker is very shy, and so you'll really have to coax her out to the stage. Please welcome your Police Chief, Jerry Williams.
So good evening to everyone and welcome to our annual award ceremony. Tonight I am reminded why I'm so proud of our organization. Throughout this evening, we will hear stories of heroic acts and stories that will pretty much leave you shaking your head in disbelief, and stories that will make you thankful that we have the best police department in the world. Yet, I am certain as each award recipient walks across the stage, if we stop to ask them how or why they earned their award, each would humbly look away and say something to the effect of, "I was just doing my job, boss." Tonight, let us celebrate our successes. Let's recognize our friends, our volunteers, our co-workers for their devotion to service when someone needed it most. What we all may consider as someone doing their job means more to this community than our award recipients will ever know. As your police chief and lifelong resident in Phoenix, please accept my personal appreciation and thank you for what you all do in the service to our community. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Chief Williams, for those very thoughtful comments. A critical part of our team are the volunteers who donate their time and talents to all aspects of the department. Here to announce the recipient of the 2017 Cops Volunteer Excellence Award, please welcome to the stage Assistant Chief Louis Tovar.
Thank you. COPS. COPS stands for Citizens Offering Police Support. So much of what we do as a police department is carried out by our volunteers. These outstanding citizens give of themselves and their time to ensure that we continue to serve and protect while giving back to our community. They serve on advisory boards, in neighborhood patrols, in precincts, and in bureaus. They assist with special programs. They are leaders and mentors, and they deserve our appreciation. Tonight, we will recognize one very special volunteer who donated so much of her time over the last calendar year of 2017. To all of our volunteers, from the bottom of our hearts, we say thank you.
Well, continuing on that, for several years, COPS volunteer Robin Grass has faithfully served the nonprofit Silent Witness program, and the dedication that she exhibits is really appreciated. Her efforts lessen the amount of work that the career staff have to do, allowing the team to concentrate their efforts on moving that program forward. Silent Witness, of course, as you know, solicits crime tips from the community to help solve felonies. And then those tips, when they're properly followed up on, allow our records to be as accurate as possible. And her efforts increase the amount of total recap the Silent Witness program can legitimately claim.
The tasks that Ms. Grass takes on are very important to the day-to-day operations of the Silent Witness program. Ms. Grass has always demonstrated a strong, positive, service-minded attitude. She and her work could not possibly be more appreciated by the Silent Witness program and the Phoenix Police Department family. We are proud to present Robin Grass the 2018 COPS Volunteer Excellence Award.
Our next award category, the Medal of Life Saving. Please welcome to the stage Assistant Chief Mary Roberts.
Thank you. And now please welcome this year's honorees receiving the Medal of Life Saving.
Steve Wing, Taylor Leeds, Matt Hamus, Sergeant Eric Zoff, Derek Minton, Elizabeth Tyman, Daniel Colburn, James Curran, Ronald Spores, John Ferragamo, Josh Barron, Douglas Dennis, Kyle Sandberg, Lieutenant Jeff Fields, Jamie Phillips, Benjamin Ibble, Trevin Janser, Scott Ferrante, Benjamin Johnson, Lauren Burke, Nilu Padilla, Alyssa Gutierrez, Scott Russell, Jason Scoggins, Victoria Bagel, Jacob Daniels, Jorge Ortega, Joshua James, Andrew James, Sergeant David Huff, Ricardo Perez, Paul Torbett, Marcos Renteria, Sergeant Gary Gumbar, Sergeant Christopher Sun, Andrew Honigman.
The Medal of Life Saving is awarded to an employee or citizen for an act that results in saving or preserving a human life or lives that otherwise would have immediately expired. Each and every day, the life of a Phoenix police officer includes experiences and opportunities that impact our citizens and our community. Every recipient on stage tonight was involved in saving a life, and in many cases, their actions involved in endangering their own life. It would take all evening to share each of these stories, but each one is incredible in its own right. Many of these times, officers intervened with risk to their own personal safety in order to save people who are in life-threatening situations. In each case, the actions of these officers either saved or significantly prolonged the life of a citizen who otherwise may have perished. Please join me in recognizing all recipients of the Medal of Life-Saving.
Thank you for recognizing our Medal of Life-Saving recipients. A digital version of the program is available online, where a photo of our honorees and the story of their life-saving efforts can be found. Please see an awards representative for instructions on where to download this file. Now, often there are heroes who come from the very community we are entrusted to protect and serve. Tonight, we honor the service of our fellow citizens. Let us take a minute to recognize one such citizen hero. Please welcome to the stage, receiving the Certificate of Life-Saving, Mr. James Hall.
Hello, everyone. I'm Roy Green of the Arizona Cardinals. I just want to say this evening, thank you so much for what you do for my community. We really appreciate the effort that you give, the way you make it so that we can be safe as we go to bed at night. I know I, as well as your family, really loves and appreciates you. So all the wives and girlfriends, kids, whomever your relationship is with the officer out there, reach over right now, give him a kiss, a hug, or a handshake, and tell him how much you appreciate him, because I sure do. The Arizona Cardinals and the Phoenix Police Department, my two favorite teams.
From all of us here at CBS 5 in Waco, Arizona, we want to thank each and every one of you at the Phoenix Police Department. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, thank you. We call you, we text you, we tweet you, we bug you incessantly. You're always so patient with us, and you keep us safe out there, which we appreciate more than you know.
Yes, thank you. And we're going to keep calling you and texting you. So you
It's
better
not
pick up. Thank you, seriously.
Thank
Thank you for everything that you do, keeping our community safe. We love you, and congratulations to all the folks getting awards in there.
You gotta give some to my girl. All right, presenting our next category, the Medal of Merit. Please welcome to the stage Assistant Chief Sandra Renteria.
Thank you. The Medal of Merit is presented to an employee for an act of courage and dedication to duty during the performance of a police service that involves significant risk or danger to one's personal safety. As these awards are presented, you will hear stories of heroes who take quick action to protect life and property. Our community is lucky that these honorees were in the right place at the right time and knew exactly what needed to be done. We are truly grateful and proud to honor each of them tonight with the Medal of Merit. At this time, please welcome Officer Andrew Henigman.
On June 11, 2014, Officer Andrew Henigman responded to a call of a home invasion at a church near 1500 West Monroe Street. A caller was a priest, said he had been hit in the head by someone who had broken into the residence on that property, attacking his assistant and his fellow priest as well. The other victim was unconscious, not breathing. When Officer Henigman arrived, he sees a man standing at the rectory door, covered in blood. He doesn't know, is this a victim? Is this a suspect? Officer Henigman orders him out of the building. The man appears disoriented. He says nothing. He turns back into the rectory. Officer Henigman can hear yelling, screaming, coming from inside that rectory. He radios for backup, but based on that location, what he had seen, Officer Henigman decided in order to protect life, he would have to go into that home immediately. As he's searching that house, Officer Henigman found the two priests in one of the rooms, both of them badly injured, one performing CPR on the other. Officer Henigman secures the room, holds his position until backup gets there. Phoenix fire personnel arrive, both men taken to the local hospital. Only one of those priests survived, but he has severe head trauma. He can't remember what has happened. Officer Henigman then spends time with both of the victims' families after that crime, helping to fill in the memory gaps, providing much needed understanding and closure. Officer Henigman showed great care and compassion as he went out of his way, above and beyond, to connect with the victims' families. His bravery, his caring actions, they're in keeping with the highest standards and the traditions of the Phoenix Fire Department. Officer Andrew Henigman is hereby awarded the Medal of Merit.
Now please welcome to the stage Lieutenant Mark Tovar, Sergeants Michael Carmody, Timothy Best, and Peter Best, and Officers Johnny Meyer, Michael George, Nicholas Harrison, Gary Hamlet, Rowan Clark, and Miles Piper. On January 1st, 2017, Phoenix police responded to a call of a shooting at a residence near 1700 East Desert Drive. When officers arrived, they began setting up tactical containment. After talking with witnesses, officers discovered that the suspect was in the home along with a gunshot victim. One of the witnesses was able to retrieve the gun from the suspect. However, there were others still inside of the home. In order to protect life, the decision was made to enter the home. Officers breached a large window in the living room of the home and observed the victim slumped over on the couch. Next, they breached the front door in order to rescue the victim, but they were immediately confronted by the suspect. Officers began giving commands to the suspect, but he refused to follow those commands. the suspect retreated further back into the home, giving officers an opportunity to rescue the injured victim. Eventually, a taser was deployed and the suspect was taken into custody. The actions of Lieutenant Mark Tovar, Sergeants Michael Carmody, Timothy Smith, Peter Best, along with officers Johnny Meyer, Michael George, Nicholas Harrison, Gary Hamlet, Rowan Clark, and Miles Piper, are in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of the Phoenix Police Department. They are hereby awarded the Medal of Merit.
And now please welcome to the stage Officer Brandon Wright. On December 9, 2016, members of the Mountain View Precinct Neighborhood Enforcement Team 72 X-Ray Squad observed a subject flee from the backyard gate after seeing a marked patrol unit near 3700 East Van Buren. Officers attempted to contact the suspect as he rode away on a bicycle through an alley. The suspect jumped off the bike, begins jumping over fences into yards. Officer Brandon Wright finds the man, starts giving verbal commands for him to stop. That man does stop abruptly. He turns toward Officer Wright, blindly stabbing at him with a knife. Officer Wright had drawn his deputy weapon but was unable to shoot. Why? Because there was a child and 3 women standing nearby. Officer Wright continued giving commands to the suspect to drop the knife, but the suspect turned and started running towards that family. With the increased danger to that family, Officer Wright holstered his weapon. He closes the distance on the suspect. He's able to run up behind the man, wrap his arms around his upper body to limit his ability to use that knife. Officer Wright pinned the man to the ground, holds him there until additional officers arrive and help take him into custody. The suspect was a documented gang member who was on drugs and had another concealed knife as well. Officer Wright displayed great bravery in order to stop a dangerous suspect and save the lives of innocent people in harm's way. His actions are in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of the Phoenix Police Department. Officer Brandon Wright, hereby awarded the Medal of Merit.
Now please welcome to the stage Lieutenant Jamie Bennett. On July 29, 2017, Lieutenant Jamie Bennett was on patrol and stopped at a red light at 19th Avenue and Bethany Home Road. Lieutenant Bennett heard someone aggressively honking their horn and then observed a vehicle traveling slowly through the intersection, crossing over into oncoming traffic. Lieutenant Bennett could see that the male driver appeared to be having a seizure. Lieutenant Bennett activated her overhead lights and siren to alert other drivers and then drove her vehicle alongside the man. He was unconscious and laying across the passenger compartment, the vehicle traveling at approximately 15 miles per hour. Lieutenant Bennett drove into opposing lanes of traffic and positioned her vehicle in front of the other and stopped. The vehicle then collided with the rear of the patrol car. Lieutenant Bennett exited her vehicle, broke the passenger window so she could render aid. Phoenix fire personnel arrived and the man was transported to a local hospital where he was expected to make a full recovery. Lieutenant Bennett's quick actions stopped any further harm to the driver and motorists in the area. Lieutenant Bennett placed her own safety in jeopardy. Her actions are in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of the Phoenix Police Department, and she is hereby awarded the Medal of Merit.
Please welcome to the stage Officer Kenneth Mitchell. On May 27, 2017, Officer Kenneth Mitchell was off duty when he observed a man in crisis seated on the concrete barrier of the I-10 to I-17 overpass. Officer Mitchell observed another citizen struggling with that man, attempting to prevent him from jumping over that ledge. Officer Mitchell exited his car and approached, but the man jumped. Before he could fall, the citizen grabs onto the man who is teetering over the edge. Officer Mitchell grabs a hold of the suicidal subject by his belt, preventing both him and the other citizen from falling. Can you imagine this? A trooper with the Department of Public Safety responded to the call, witnesses Officer Mitchell and the citizen pulling the suicidal man back over. The distraught man proceeds to fight with Officer Mitchell, the trooper, and the citizen. The trooper was able to use his taser to subdue the man. Officer Mitchell then was able to control the allowing handcuffs to be put on him. The man was secured, delivered to a psychiatric care facility for mental health evaluation.
Officer Mitchell's quick actions that day saved the life of a man who was intent on ending it himself. His brave and decisive actions at great risk to his own personal safety are in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of the Phoenix Police Department. Officer Kenneth Mitchell is hereby awarded the Medal of Merit.
Hi, it's April Warnicki and the gals from Good Morning Arizona. I wanted to say congratulations to all the award winners and thank you to all of you for everything that you do.
And I'm Tess Raffles. We always appreciate your service to the community, making sure we are all safe. Congratulations, well-deserved honors for all of you.
Hardest job in this community and goes underappreciated. So huge thank you. I'm Olivia. You guys and women are part of Arizona's family, no doubt about it, and also part of my family too. You guys know I fell in love with my husband when he was in a police uniform. And also shout out to my brother-in-law, Lieutenant in Phoenix Police Department, Chris Boyle. So congratulations to the honorees and thank you so much for all you do.
Hi, this is Paul Goldschmidt of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Thank you to Phoenix's finest for protecting our community. Congratulations to all of tonight's awards recipients, and thanks for everything you do.
Hola, ¿qué tal? A todos los oficiales, a todas sus familias, les saluda Heidi Rempening desde los estudios de Univisión Arizona. Es un placer para mí poder estar con ustedes este día tan importante y más que nada para agradecerles por todo su servicio, por todos los sacrificios que hacen por nuestra seguridad, por nuestras familias, por nuestra comunidad en general. También quiero aprovechar la oportunidad para agradecerles a sus familias, porque ellas son las que los apoyan y les permiten salir cada día de sus hogares para estar bien preparados y poder pelear por nosotros. Gracias por todo el esfuerzo que hacen y estamos aquí para poder compartir esta responsabilidad y mantener a esta comunidad protegida, mantener a esta comunidad informada. Que Dios los bendiga y estamos aquí para apoyarlos.
Should we clear up the awkwardness? Y'all don't have to clap for the videos. Isn't it a little awkward, right? Do we clap, do we not? We don't have to. Now here to present our next award category, the Medal of Valor. Please welcome Assistant Chief John Collins.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Medal of Valor is awarded to an employee for a conspicuous act of valor during the performance of a police service that involves the risk of life and the knowledge of that risk. The act clearly delineates valor from other forms of courage and is above and beyond the call of duty. Each of the honorees this evening are deserving of this award. Every officer in law enforcement will encounter an array of situations in their career, each one more unique than the last. Our next group of honorees can truly say they encountered the call of their lifetime. Despite the life-threatening conditions and being met by gunfire from an armed homicide suspect in a house fully engulfed in flames, these officers rose to the challenge and used unconventional methods in an attempt to rescue a family of victims. Please honor our next group of honorees to the stage.
Commander Brad Burt, Lieutenant Michael Moeller, Lieutenant Bill Wickers, Lieutenant Seth Johnke, Sergeant Jesse Abernathy, Sergeant Mike Penn, Sergeant Jeremy Fiola, Sergeant Darren Lund, Sergeant Roy Chalmers, Sergeant Troy Clark, Tony Fang, Scott Pavis, Robert Kimmery, Timothy Tours, Nicholas Kerger, Troy Webb, Brent McElvain, Stephen Reeves, Nicholas Barker, Andrew Williams, Jeffrey Peterson, David Hurt, Ty Soley, Lance Fadley, Danny Olmos, James Smoke, Justin Gillette, Joel Zamitis, Jeremiah Jonkus, Dexter Mitchell, Sean Knapp, William Underwood, Matthew Eric, Steve Blasco, Todd Whitbeck, Alistair Morrison, Ben Wetzel.
On February 23rd, 2016, an adult male used his father's handgun to shoot 4 members of his family inside their home in the 4800 block of West Sunnyside Avenue. As officers arrived on scene, the suspect set the house on fire. A tense and demanding 2-hour standoff ensued. While staging around the perimeter of the house, officers could hear more shots fired from inside. In order to protect life, they attempted to enter the home, but heavy smoke forced them to retreat. The gunfire made it unsafe for Phoenix Fire Department crews to enter and fight the fire, so they gave fire hoses to the officers to attempt to clear a path through the flames. Self-contained breathing apparatuses were secured from fire crews, and a rescue team of officers was able to make entry and extract 1 victim from the home. Officers then borrowed a ladder to look inside a second-story room, but thick and heavy smoke obscured their view. They were eventually able to see another victim inside who appeared to be lifeless. The Special Assignments Unit then arrived on scene. Officers in the back of the house could see the armed suspect flee into the basement. SAU took a position at a window and ultimately engaged the suspect, who pointed the gun at officers. 1 officer fired his service weapon at the suspect, thus ending the threat. SAU then entered the house and was able to extract the victim seen earlier in the window, just before the house exploded into an inferno. The decisive leadership, out-of-the-box thinking, and the willingness of these officers to place themselves in harm's way all contributed to the safety of the officers on scene. Any means possible were used by officers on scene in an attempt to rescue the innocent victims of this tragic event. The actions of each of these officers are in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of the Phoenix Police Department, and they are hereby awarded the Medal of Valor. Join me in giving these officers another round of applause.
Now please welcome to the stage Sergeant Joseph Roberts, Officers Ryan Lee, Glenn Yoder, Chris Hoyer, and Stephen Fernandez. Receiving the Certificate of Life Saving, please welcome Phoenix Fire Captains Bradley Johnston and Jerome Dunn and firefighter Joseph Pacheco. Unable to be here tonight, Captain Jeffrey Conway, Engineer Todd Pippin, firefighters Kai Futzenruder and Glenn Trainer, but they still deserve the recognition. Receiving the Certificate of Recognition, please welcome Communications Operator Patricia Bryant. On May 18, 2016, officers responded to a 911 call of a burglary in progress. The caller stated the suspect had broken into his home, stole a gun, and was texting pictures of himself with the gun and drug paraphernalia, stating he wanted to shoot police. Responding officers staged near the home. No movement was seen in or around the house or within the vehicles parked outside. Officers from the 81 X-Ray Maryvale Estrella Mountain Precinct Neighborhood Enforcement Team met with the caller to confirm those text messages. Then, a group of officers moved in an attempt to locate that suspect. As officers got out of their patrol vehicles, they were immediately met with gunfire. Unbeknownst to them, the suspect was seated in a vehicle with extremely darkly tinted windows parked in front of that house. Officers returned fire, and the threat was soon ended. Officer David Glasser sustained critical injury from that encounter. Officers quickly formed an extrication team to locate Officer Glasser to safety, or relocate him to safety, and began rendering aid. He was transported to the hospital where he tragically succumbed to his injuries on May 19, 2016. As a direct result of the actions of the Phoenix Fire Crew, Officer Glasser's family had the opportunity to say their goodbyes. His service to the community continued on as an organ donor. Sergeant Joseph Roberts, Officers Ryan Lee, Brandon Yoder, Chris Hoyer, and Stephen Fernandez endured one of the most difficult trials in any officer's career. The loss of a friend and a coworker in the line of duty. It was their swift actions to deliver him to safety in the interest of protecting their friend and their community and their city are in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of the Phoenix Fire Department, and they are hereby awarded the Medal of Valor. For their diligent efforts to preserve life, Phoenix Fire Captains Bradley Johnston, Jeffrey Conway, and Jerome Dunn, along with Engineer Todd Pippin, firefighters Joseph Pacheco, Kai Futzenruder, and Glenn Trainer are hereby awarded the Certificate of Life Saving. Communications operator Patricia Bryant is a veteran of the 911 Dispatch Center. She performed the critical role as dispatcher for this incident. Although Mrs. Bryant was not physically at that scene, she was there that afternoon, riding along virtually by connecting via radio with first responders every day on every call. Our communications operators share in their victories, also mourning their losses together. For service in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of the Phoenix Police Department, Patricia Bryant is hereby awarded the Certificate of Recognition.
Please welcome to the stage Officer Bobby Madera. Receiving the Medal of Merit, please welcome Sergeants Mark Humbles and Terry Riley, Officers Nicholas Welsh, Robert Baraban, Kristen Luther, Manny Valenzuela, and Kevin Lynn. On December 30th, 2016, Officer Bobby Madera responded to an address near 1100 North 46th Street to serve an order of protection. When Officer Madera arrived, he saw the caller and her ex-boyfriend seated on the porch. As he approached, the man produced a gun, placed it against his own head, and told the victim that she was not free to leave. Officer Madera drew his service weapon and moved for cover behind his patrol vehicle. He immediately began a dialogue with the suspect. As other officers arrived, they began to evacuate nearby residences, while Officer Madera continued talking with the man. He noticed that there was movement inside the home behind the suspect and the victim. Sergeant Mark Humbles began to organize a rescue team for those inside. Sergeant Terry Riley, Officers Robert Baraban, Kristen Luther, Manny Valenzuela, and Kevin Lynn entered the residence to extract whomever was in the home through the back door. The air unit lowered elevation to help conceal the noise of the officers' actions. During the negotiations, Officer Nicholas Welsh stood by Officer Madera to ensure he did not drift into the rifle officer's line of fire. The officers were on the call for an hour and 15 minutes when the Special Assignments Unit arrived and took over the scene. Officer Madera continued negotiations, keeping the suspect calm and focused. This made it possible for everyone else to rescue the 4 family members trapped in the home, and for SAU to rescue the final victim. The suspect was ultimately taken into custody without further incident. Officer Madera showed great restraint and professionalism by calmly negotiating with a dangerous suspect. His actions are in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of the Phoenix Police Department, and therefore Officer Madera is hereby awarded the Medal of Valor. For their support and determination that led to the safe rescue of a family of 4 and at great risk to their personal safety, Sergeants Mark Humbles and Terry Riley, as well as Officers Nicholas Welsh, Robert Baraban, Kristen Luther, Manny Valenzuela, and Kevin Lynn are hereby awarded the Medal of Merit.
Hi, I'm Mike Broomhead from News Talk 550 KFYI and AZTV7. Just wanted to take a moment to thank all of you for the work you do for the city of Phoenix. I'm from a law enforcement family, so I understand the dedication it takes to be a police officer and the commitment to your job and your community. There's no way I'm able to do the job I do without you being willing to do what you do. I will always defend you on the air, but I will never forget that it's your hard work every single day that makes it safe for me to do my job, and I will echo that all over the place whenever I can. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for the work you do, but especially for the way you do it. You are the most professional agency in the entire country. I'm proud to say that I live in Phoenix, and you're a big part of that reason, so thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jason Rowley, president of the Phoenix Suns, Phoenix Mercury, and Talking Stick Resort Arena. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate both the award recipients and their families for the award you're receiving tonight. It's a great honor, and you should be very proud for your accomplishments. Secondarily, but as importantly, I want to thank the entire Phoenix police community for the great work you do protecting our citizens day in and day out. For all the events we put on here, the traffic, the support, the protection that you give our fans as they come into this building is something that we value very highly. So thank you for all that you do. Have a great evening.
And folks, please welcome to the stage a man without whom tonight would not be possible, the president of the Phoenix Police Foundation, Mr. Tim Thomas.
Good evening. First, let me congratulate all of the award recipients this evening. You do an amazing job serving and protecting our community. And on behalf of the Phoenix Police Foundation and our board of directors, I'd like to thank each and every one of you personally for what you do. Tonight would not be possible without the support of some very special sponsors. So again, I would like to thank Grand Canyon University, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona, and Galloway Financial for making tonight possible. The Phoenix Police Foundation only exists because of funding from individuals and corporate partners who support Phoenix Police. I'd like to take a moment to share a few examples of how our donor partners have helped the department and the employees over the last 12 months. With support from the community, the foundation was able to purchase 5 top-of-the-line ballistic shields for patrol officers, made possible by a grant from Circle K. Private funding allowed the foundation to purchase the department forensic gear that's being used today as an investigative tool. Last year, the bomb squad had a K-9 that fell ill unexpectedly. With a combination of corporate and individual donations, the foundation was able to quickly purchase a new K-9, avoiding any prolonged gap in service. Perhaps the most profound support from the community came from efforts to send David Glasser's family and squad back to Washington, D.C. for Police Week. With community support, the foundation sent over 20 of David's squad mates and family with no out-of-pocket cost, so that they could be there when David's name was added to the National Memorial Wall. These are just a few examples of how the foundation is supporting the department and employees with private funding. Thank you again for what you do. Please enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
And here to present the next award category, please welcome Assistant Chief Jim Burgett.
Thank you. Our next award is the Police Shield. This medal is awarded to an employee who, during the performance of a police service, sustained significant injury or whose treatment requires prolonged medical attention. Their service goes far beyond the end of their shift, and they, along with their families and close friends, carry with them the sacrifices they made for their community. Please welcome to the stage Sergeant Steve Wong and Officer Mark Valenzuela.
On May 14, 2016, Sergeant Stephen Wong and Officer Mark Valenzuela responded to an emergency call of a home invasion at an apartment near 3700 West McDowell Road. The call stated that a male subject armed with a gun was seen entering an apartment and several shots were heard. As Sergeant Wong and Officer Valenzuela were looking for the apartment, the suspect was lying in wait behind a parked SUV and began shooting at them as they approached. Sergeant Wong felt pain in his abdomen and doubled over. When he recovered, he could see the suspect pointing a gun at them through a car window. Sergeant Wong took cover and realized he was shot in the lower abdomen. His ballistic vest had stopped the bullet. Officer Valenzuela immediately engaged the suspect, firing his duty weapon. Officer Valenzuela was struck in the left arm, but continued shooting as the suspect ran up the stairs. The suspect fell to the ground at the top of the stairs and was later pronounced deceased. Sergeant Wong and Officer Valenzuela were both transported to the hospital for treatment of their injuries. During the investigation, it was discovered that the suspect had killed a woman just prior to police arrival. Despite being ambushed and wounded by gunfire, Sergeant Wong and Officer Valenzuela showed incredible courage and bravery, above and beyond the call of duty. These officers' actions are in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of the Phoenix Police Department. Both Sergeant Stephen Wong and Officer Mark Valenzuela are hereby awarded the Police Shield and the Medal of Valor.
And now please welcome Officer James Wolfenden. On June 18, 2017, Officer James Wolfenden was involved in an on-duty traffic collision near the intersection of 35th Avenue in Glendale. Officer Wolfenden was driving northbound in his patrol Tahoe when a Chevy pickup failed to stop for the red light. The pickup collided with the driver's side door of Officer Wolfenden's vehicle. The force of that collision caused the Tahoe to roll and come to rest on the passenger side off the roadway on the northeast corner of that intersection. Officer Wolfenden was wearing his seatbelt and had to cut himself free in order to get out of the vehicle. Responding officers arrived on scene. They were able to get him out from the patrol SUV through the windshield. Officer Wolfenden was transported to the hospital with serious injuries. The driver of the pickup found to be impaired at the time of that collision. At the hospital, it was learned that Officer Wolfenden had suffered a broken pelvis among his injuries, which required extensive and lengthy surgeries. Officer Wolfenden has not been able to return to work, but continues to rehab his injury as he heals. For serious and prolonged injuries sustained in the line of duty and selfless service to his community, Officer James Wolfenden hereby awarded the Police Shield.
Please welcome to the stage Detective Josh Mosqueda and Officer Raul Hernandez. On September 22nd, 2014, Detective Josh Mosqueda, then Officer Mosqueda, responded to a call of a possible burglary at a home near 6800 West Pearson Street. When he arrived, he saw a Dodge Durango parked in the driveway of the home with the front passenger door standing open. Officer Mosqueda saw a man standing near the open door, acting suspicious. Officer Mosqueda approached and grabbed the man's arm to place him under investigative detention. The man immediately tensed up and started to punch the officer's face and upper body. The man lunged into the vehicle and grabbed a handgun. He pointed it at Officer Mosqueda's face and pulled the trigger, but miraculously the gun malfunctioned and did not fire. Officer Mosqueda moved back, trying to retrieve his own gun when he fell over a curb. The suspect obtained another weapon from the vehicle and fled on foot through the neighborhood. Officer Mosqueda attempted to broadcast the incident over his police radio, but he realized the radio had been damaged in the fight. Officer Mosqueda began to follow the suspect when Officer Hernandez arrived. The officers continued to pursue the suspect on foot throughout the neighborhood. When they finally caught up to him, the suspect started fighting the officers and he produced a knife. Officer Mosqueda drew his duty weapon and he fired, striking the suspect in the abdomen. The suspect dropped the knife but continued to fight with both officers. After a struggle, they were able to subdue the suspect and place him in handcuffs. Officer Hernandez sustained minor injuries. Officer Mosqueda sustained a torn pectoral muscle, which left his arm nearly useless. This required surgery to repair and took over 3 months before he was able to return to full duty. He has since returned to work and has earned the title of detective. For significant injuries sustained in the line of duty, Detective Josh Mosqueda is hereby awarded the Police Shield. The enforcement action of both Detective Mosqueda and Officer Hernandez are in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of the Phoenix Police Department, and they're both hereby awarded the Medal of Valor.
And now we present our next award category, the Police Chief's Unit Award. This award is presented for the successful completion of a predetermined police-related on-duty act or acts, or continuing effort or efforts by a group of employees working for a common objective. And tonight, we are proud to recognize those responsible for identifying and arresting a high-profile serial murderer who terrorized our city for nearly a year. Their tireless efforts brought the serial street shooter to justice. And for that time, even when the trail seemingly went cold, they continued to follow leads, process the evidence, reach out to the community as well as local and national media outlets, and leverage social media until they found the break that they needed. Literally thousands of tips were followed up on during the course of this investigation until finally a suspect was identified and families were allowed to take one more step toward closure. Please welcome to the stage this year's honorees who are receiving the Police Chief's Unit of the Year Award.
Assistant Chief Barry Roberts, Commander Ed DeCastro, Commander Sean Connolly, Lieutenant Shane Dishotel, Sergeant Eric Lumley, Sergeant Chad Ryan, Sergeant Jonathan Howard, Retired Detective Mark Armistead, Jose Cisneros, Clark Schwarzkopf, Paul Dalton, Retired Detective Todd Ruggieri, Frank Durham, Dominic Rostenberg, Adriana Miner, Matt Hamus, Audrey Santisi, Chad Dennison, Henry Smith, Forensic Artist Kurt Messick, Police Assistant Joy Anderson, Police Assistant Jessica Elfritz, Forensic Scientist Kevin Albrecht, Forensic Scientist Michael Beddoe, Criminal Analyst Jennifer Gerosi.
If you listen to all those titles, you can tell what a true team effort this was. In May 2017, the Phoenix Police Department arrested a 23-year-old violent offender for a series of violent offenses who shot people who were outside in residential neighborhoods. The suspect committed 12 shootings during an 11-month period, murdering 9 people and injuring 2 others. The series began on August 12, 2015, and the crimes were ultimately linked through ballistic evidence. The Phoenix Police Department created a multi-jurisdictional task force dedicated to maintaining safety, while investigative efforts focused on solving these crimes through the identification and apprehension of the offender or offenders. The crime series, dubbed the Serial Street Shooter, spanned several months and received extensive local and national media coverage. More than 3,000 investigative leads and tips were generated from the public and ultimately investigated. The community tips led to the identification of the suspect, who was subsequently arrested and indicted on 27 felony crimes to include 9 homicides, and he is currently awaiting trial. The focus and determination of all those involved led to the end of a violent and deadly crime series and helped to quell the community's fear of the serial street shooter. Their combined efforts are in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of the Phoenix Police Department. The Serial Street Shooter Task Force is hereby awarded the Police Chief's Unit Award.
hard at work every single day, and I can't thank you enough for your hard work and dedication.
It doesn't matter where you live. They're helping kids across the street, maybe directing traffic, investigating crime, to make sure you keep your friends and family safe. And so to all of our public servants in the Phoenix Police Department, we say thank you for what you do.
Good evening. I'm Robert Sarver, managing partner of the Phoenix Suns and the CEO of Western Alliance Bank. Proud members of the downtown Phoenix community, and I just want to congratulate all you officers for the outstanding work you did last year on behalf of the community. As partners in downtown, we know there's no way we could do what we do, including putting on all those events, without your help and your assistance. I respect you guys. As a youngster growing up, I always thought of myself as wanting to be in law enforcement, but to be honest, I'm not really sure I'd have the guts or courage to do what you guys do every day. So, tremendous amount of respect for all the work you men and women do on a daily basis to protect all of us citizens of the city of Phoenix. And once again, congratulations.
I'm Javier Soto from News Channel 3, and I just want to say thank you. You all make our streets safer. I know we work with you guys hand in hand, and it's not always the best of situations, but you truly are our heroes. And hey, by the way, remember me in case you catch me speeding.
And now please welcome the recipient of our next award of the evening, receiving the award for Supervisor of the Year. Please welcome Sergeant Adam Barrett. Throughout 2017, Homicide Sergeant Adam Barrett of the Violent Crimes Bureau has responded to events from around the city, to include various homicides and officer-involved shootings. The duties of a homicide supervisor vary on a daily basis and require an unbillable amount of hours of dedication to the department and to the community. In May of 2017, a Phoenix woman disappeared from her home and was never seen again. 4 days later, Sergeant Barrett and detectives from the homicide unit began their investigation, believing foul play was involved. Sergeant Barrett was instrumental in locating, obtaining, and providing all the necessary resources for the investigation, allowing the department to continue its pursuit of justice for that family. The investigation led police to the State Route 85 landfill. Sergeant Barrett spent numerous hours working with detectives to prepare for that monumental and costly task of a landfill search. Once the operation was approved, Sergeant Barrett coordinated personnel and equipment from agencies including Phoenix Fire, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the FBI, the Arizona Department of Public Safety, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, Maricopa Medical Examiner, other Valley Police Departments, and several community partners as well. Sergeant Barrett epitomizes what it means to be an extraordinary supervisor and a great human being as well. On more than one occasion, Sergeant Barrett has purchased meals with his own money for his squad when their duties prevented them from leaving a crime scene. He's taken the time to connect with his people and learn about each individual on his squad, learn about their families, goals, likes, dislikes. Sergeant Barrett exemplifies what it means to be a supervisor that everyone would want to work for. His performance is in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of the Phoenix Police Department. Homicide Sergeant Adam Barrett hereby awarded the Supervisor of the Year Award. Well, he began the evening by upstaging me, attempting to, and you've heard that familiar voice throughout the evening, and he is a veteran reporter, respected journalist, movie star, did you know, and a friend to law enforcement most of the time.
Definitely.
He has interviewed serial killers, superstars, covered worldwide stories that include the criminal trial of O.J. Simpson, the LA riots, the Oklahoma City bombing, just naming a few here. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to focus your attention on the screens for a special message from my friend, my coworker, Mike Watkins.
I'd like to congratulate the men and women who are being recognized tonight. There are some amazing stories behind tonight's event. Over the last 20 plus years, it has been my privilege and honor to tell some of the stories of the men and women of the Phoenix PD. Some of the people who have served in this department have become some of the nearest and dearest friends I have in the Valley. And as I hang up my reporter spurs, I'd just like to say, thank you for the friendship, thank you for the adventures, and please be safe out there.
Those of you that have ever had the opportunity to know and work with Mike will attest to the fact he is one of the most genuine people you ever will meet. And now please direct your attention to the screen for a special message from Grand Canyon University President Brian Mueller.
Good evening. My name is Brian Mueller, and I'm the president of Grand Canyon University. I also want to welcome all the police officers here tonight, all of their families. This is a big night. This is a big night just not for the city of Phoenix and the police officers. It's a big night for America. It's a big night for Grand Canyon University. What's going on in our country right now is one of the most unfortunate things that I've ever observed. With police officers being treated the way they are in different cities and in different places across the country, it's not good for America that this is going on. What's good for America is that we have more evenings like this. When police officers are brought together, when families are brought together, when the city comes together, and we celebrate not only what you do, but your entire life. I have personally watched as, in the last 6 or 7 years, things have been transformed between 35th Avenue and Camelback and between 27th Avenue and Camelback. I've watched as police officers have done their jobs in a very, very difficult environment, in a crime-ridden environment, where the majority of the people who live here, the vast majority, are very, very good people. But they've been overrun by some bad guys. What I have watched is you put your lives on the line night after night, day after day, to protect the good people of this neighborhood. I've watched as the bad guys have been pushed out, have been driven out, and I've watched as hope has been restored for the people that live here. Not just for Grand Canyon University and our students, but for the people that live in our neighborhood. It's been one of the most remarkable transformations I think any of us have ever observed, and it's the police officers, the men and women that put their lives on the line every night and every day that are making this happen. We are deeply, deeply grateful for the work that you do, deeply grateful for the transformation that you're making happen in our neighborhood, and we want to celebrate with you, and we want this to be one of the greatest evenings that you and your families have ever enjoyed. Thank you very much.
Our final award is the Medal of Honor. It is awarded to those officers who made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty in service to their community. Now, we were truly blessed in 2017 to not have any Phoenix police officers lost in the line of duty. However, not every agency was as fortunate. Over the years, the Phoenix Police Department has experienced 38 line of duty deaths. Throughout Phoenix, the sites of their deaths are memorialized by historical markers. Each marker represents a hero's life, their sacrifice, and stands as a reminder to their family, friends, and community that we will all never forget. Please direct your attention to the screens for a tribute to those worthy of our most venerable award, the Medal of Honor.
We are at the memorial marker of Officer Hayes Birch in the area of 6th Street and Jefferson Street.
We are at the memorial marker of Officer Walter Stewart at 20th Street and Washington Street.
Albert Bloom, serial number 947. Officer Dale Stone, serial number 1697.
Phoenix Police Officer Clay Haywood. For Officer Michael Hemsmeyer.
For Officer Gilbert Chavez.
Officer Arthur Delgadio.
Officer Ignacio Conchos, badge 2853, and Officer John Davis, badge 1841.
Officer Kenneth Campbell, 3973.
Officer Earl Rusty Hawkins.
Motor Officer Robert L. Palmentier.
For Officer Kevin Forsyth, badge number 3289.
For John Robertson, badge number 3127.
For Officer Robert Fike. Officer Kenneth Collins.
Officer Pat Briggs.
Sergeant Danny Tunney, badge number 1437. Sergeant John Domblinski, badge number 2647.
For Officer Leonard Kalaji, badge number 2387.
Sergeant Marty Kiefer.
For Officer Jolie Buff.
Officer Beryl Wayne Scott.
Officer Don Schultz.
Officer Jason Wolf, 7215, and Officer Eric White, 7275.
Officer David Uribe.
For Officer Paul Salmon, badge number 8256.
Officer George Cortez, serial number 8232.
For Officer Nick Erfley, badge number 6994.
For Officer Shane Figueroa, badge 8485.
For Officer Travis Murphy, 8474.
Officer Daryl Rates, serial number 8899.
Detective John Hobbs, badge number 5624.
For Officer Mark Atkinson, number 5930.
Officer David Glasser, serial number 8144.
We honor and remember.
We honor and remember.
We honor and remember their sacrifice.
The roll call of heroes that you just saw contained excerpts from our Memorial Marker video series honoring each of our fallen. Each was posted throughout the year on the anniversary of their end of watch. The videos are available on Phoenix Police social media sites.
And just a reminder, the Phoenix Police Museum does invite you to join them after this evening's ceremony. The museum located just across Washington Street at Old City Hall. And you can take a moment while you're there. You can visit the memorial room where you can pay tribute to our fallen heroes and learn their stories of their sacrifice as well. And we would like to say thank you so much. Now, as one of the civilians in the room, I would just like to say you deserve to know how much the community appreciates what you do, the risk that you take every day to keep us safe. And I know that sometimes you don't feel maybe that we do. We love you, we support you, and we want you to be home safe with your families each and every night. And thank you also to the families, because you are so important in keeping their spirits up. You're walking them through the worst of times, the best of times, and we just really appreciate all of you, and I hope that you know that. And thank you so much for having me. It is really an honor. So many of you have said thank you to me, and I say no, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here, and I love spending time with you guys, even though I know half the time I'm sticking a mic in your face asking you annoying questions that you can't answer. But I really do appreciate you guys. So thank you so much for having me here.
So you don't want me to say thank you again, but I'm going to say thank you one more time for spending this very special, important night with the Phoenix Police Department family, of which you are now a part. So thank you.
Oh, can we talk about how much of a part I am? A lot of you heard this story. I attempted that 6-foot wall at your academy, and I did not make it. So I respect what you do.
So ladies and gentlemen, this concludes tonight's ceremony. Please join me in thanking the Phoenix Police Foundation and all those who worked diligently to put this ceremony together.
And thank you for being here tonight. Special thanks to tonight's heroes. We hope that you feel appreciated and respected for what you do. We are proud of you, and we're proud of your families as well. Good night.
Have a great night, everybody.